Hi, this is Only1Take. Since the last time we've spoken, there's been significant development in the Premier League. Of course, with Arsenal now 5 points clear, just beating Manchester United, which we'll get to a little later. Manchester City in second place. Of course, they're the Premier League champions, won 4 out of the last 5 tries. They deserve our attention at the moment because of some of the form they're exhibiting, which is not the stuff of champions, and some of the performances is not good enough, if I'm being totally honest, for champions. Now, they played the game that Mancunians will circle on the calendar, called the Manchester Derby against Manchester United. They were very pedestrian, with and without the ball, dating back to Brentford game just before the World Cup. This has always been the case, and it was the case against Manchester United. This symptom reared its ugly head against United. Foden and Mahrez, not exactly the most explosive pressures. Harden looks like a neon purple Lamborghini Hurricane in Halsden Market. Great car, but out of place. Great player, but out of the game. Moreover, the ball-playing centre-backs were rendered useless when passing lanes were cut out. For this reason, De Bruyne didn't have the best of game. To my amusement, being marshalled by a close protection officer by the name of Fred, players are too technical to a fault. They are unable to get out of their own way. Cancelo, Foden, Ake, De Bruyne, Bernardo, Mahrez are in the same family type-wise. Very technical family for that matter. It lacked, dare I say, PMP, pace and power, DRD, direction, runs, dynamism, while Grealish did come on and change the game. Man U, on the other hand, United closed the half spaces extremely well, forcing City to horizontal passes. Casemiro and Fred worked a treat. I wouldn't think such a pivot would work, but it did work. It stifled City, closed the spaces. They demonstrated a tactical understanding I wouldn't have thought or envisaged that they would exhibit, but they exhibited that well. And incisive passing allowed United to break with venom, with Rashford and Bruno Fernandes narrowly squandering high quality chances, but this is at the base of Fred and Casemiro pivot. So it worked a treat. Perfect combination from ETH, and he's demonstrating his tactical nous on the biggest stage. Fred personally marked KDB out of the game. KDB grew frustrated, and touches were fewer, far between, and limited in the first half. The one time he left KDB off the leash, KDB created the chance for Grealish to put away. Ten Hag got his tactics spot on. Now that brings me on to Arsenal and United today. First of all, Arsenal started like they start most games. First 5 minutes, they would absolutely blitz in United. The combination play, the triangles, the spaces they were picking up. Odegaard was pulling the strings. The wingers were charging forward. Martinelli, Saka, who had probably one of the best games in the Arsenal shirt considering the magnitude and the background of the game. And we were bombing forward. Xhaka was playing the 8 role, getting into space and occupying spaces where the defender felt uncomfortable. And it seemed to me that Zinchenko who had again another brilliant performance, was architecting from central midfield. It seemed to me it would have been a long night for Manchester United. Obviously that was not the case, as they took the lead. Marcus Rashford, who's been in absolutely scintillating form, was on the score sheet. He finds space, dribbles into space, and aesthetically pleasing shot he pulls off, all in one motion. The technique was incredible. I'm sure the ball was traveling by 62 miles per hour. Ramsdale no chance in the bottom corner, and he pulled up from quite a way. It wasn't no tapping, I would say. It definitely wasn't no tapping on the replay. It was definitely more than a few yards out. It was definitely a few yards out. Definitely a few yards out. But they found their way into the game, and pressure was on Arsenal. Obviously, we equalised, pressed, forced a corner. From a corner, we architected a nice quality chance. We architected a brilliant quality chance. The ball was played in. Eddie Nketiah puts his head on it and places it into the net. 1-1, game on. The second goal was quite interesting. The second goal was quite interesting actually, because Bukayo Saka, who again had an amazing game, cuts in on the inside. Luke Shaw doesn't have an absolute clue what's going on. He can't stop him, cuts inside in Robin-esque fashion and just places it into the corner. And it was a powerful shot, by the way. Great technique. A lot of people feel like De Gea could have done better. I think it's a little bit harsh. De Gea was just a really, really, really good technique and an excellent strike, which was an excellent goal and put us ahead 2-1. They made it 2-2. Lisandro Martinez, who heads home. An interesting goal actually. I don't know why he chose to head it. He could have put his foot through it, but he chose to head it, and it was probably the right decision in the end. 2-2, and of course Eddie Nketiah had an incredible game. He's demonstrating everything a complete forward would demonstrate: hold up play, finishing, chance creation, creating for others, getting into space, running the channels, staying on side, beating the offside trap, technique, touch, finishing with either foot, finishing with the head. He's industry, work ethic, application, selflessness. These are things you want from a striker, and he's young and he's improving. No ego, and he's wearing the number 14 and he's doing a job a top European forward would do for a top European club, and he's doing it for Arsenal Football Club, and he's one of our own. He's someone you just fall in love with. It's very easy to fall in love with him, and I'm sure he earned a lot more fans today to add to his cohort of fans today. Tactically, I felt United were the first ones to look us in the face in the first half, beat the wave goalless and went ahead, and they played some nice stuff. They had good command of possession. In the second part of the first half, we lost our way. It got a bit chaotic. You felt that we were cancelling each other out. We couldn't gain a foothold of the game after the 10-minute mark to find their way back into the game. And because of that, United were a really difficult team. They closed off the half spaces. They stifled us in possession. They had Weghorst up front, who was controlling the ball, bringing Rashford, Bruno Fernandes into play, making it very difficult. Anthony didn't have the best of games, however, he was a threat. These were the things that Man United were doing. And they had McTominay in the middle with Eriksen. So they were very creative, but very organised. They closed off the half space and they make it difficult for us. They had fangs on the counter-attack. And I say fangs because they have Rashford, and on the other hand they have Anthony, and they have Eriksen, who can architect a semi-family detached brick house. He's absolutely incredible. But of course today on the Saka goal, he would have felt he could have done better. But honestly speaking, they looked at us in the first half and looked us right in the face. That was the first team this season that looked us right in the face in the Premier League that say, yeah, we can withstand your wave, and we can go back, and we can score, and we can stop you playing a little bit, and we can create chaos. Because the match went into chaos after the first 5 minutes. It just became chaotic end to end, and it just seemed we couldn't grab them by the scruff of the neck for the game during that period. But we came out in the second half, we started the second half better, and we slowly got into our game. And then after the 60-minute mark, it was just pepper and season. It was just attack versus defense. We absolutely mullered them. We gobbled up possession, had a high line, pressed very well, created and fashioned chances, recycled the ball well, got the ball to the wingers, and Saka was just having his way. Nelly, on the other hand, didn't have the best of games, hence he was taken off, and Leandro Trossard was put on in his place. But nonetheless, the guys did an incredible job, and tactically I felt it was one of the best games I've watched. To see ETH and how Arteta sets up, they both almost cancelled each other out. They were really good to watch, and both teams at times, and it served up a 5-goal thriller, but Arsenal edged it in the end. The pressure in the second half just did it for us, and pressure burst pipes, and that's what it did. And I'm extremely happy with the result, and we move.